So, in case you don't follow me on Twitter, they saw it first. This is the reason my wrap-up's late. Isn't that right? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamika. This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. This is my little pal Phoenix. She is a sweet baby. Isn't that right, pretty girl? Dallas is having a great time with his sister. We're having a great time. She's very sweet. So today we're going to be going over all the things that I read in January. Spoiler, it was not a ton. It was a something. We're just gonna go with it, and that's just the end of that. So in the classic order, we're gonna be breaking it up into different sections. We're gonna go with the shortest and smallest section. That's a thriller. I read The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is a thriller about a girl who decides to go to a hotel where her aunt worked whenever in the 80s. Her aunt disappeared. They don't know where she went, so she decided to go to the hotel to figure out what happened. This is told in dual timelines. It's a really interesting thriller. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I enjoyed the story and the fun of trying to figure it out, and I really liked that part, and I really enjoyed the atmosphere and the characters. By the end of it, I was a little bored. I thought it was well done in aspects, like it made sense on how things happened. I just wasn't very thrilled. I wasn't very excited. I didn't feel like it gave me exactly what I wanted, and overall I felt like the characters were a little, though they were well done, they were a little predictable in places, and I felt like the big reveals that happened were kind of predictable and they weren't that big. I did enjoy them as much as you can enjoy a reveal that you kind of saw coming. I really loved the dual timelines though. I really loved slowly figuring everything out and us knowing so much stuff and then the other girl not knowing the things. It was really fun to watch and to read and to see happen. I definitely will give this author another shot, and I will say this one's probably more of a 3.5 than just a solid 3, but like a 3.5 stars is what I'm gonna give this one. So now I want to talk about the women's fiction that I read, or the contemporary fiction that I read over the month of January. And this was Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is Maybe in Another Life. This is the only in this category that I read. This follows 2 different timelines. Again, I love dual timelines. I just shopped that. I love dual timelines, and this follows a girl who goes out to the club with her friends, and the 2 decisions she makes, whether she goes home with her ex or she goes home with her friend, and the decision and what those decisions do for her life. And I thought this was a really interesting take on life and our reality and what possibilities are out there in the multi-universe theories. I definitely see my own theories in this with what I believe, and I think that that is a interesting factor. Overall, I really liked these characters. I loved our main character. She was so headstrong and independent, and I loved her. I loved the things I hated what she had to go through, but I loved the journey, and I loved watching her develop on both sides and grow into a better person. And at one point I was liking one side more than the other, and then it switched and I liked the other more, and I loved them both so much that I started to get parts confused, because I was like, wait, what chapter am I on? Which perspective am I on? What timeline am I in? And it was just a really fun read, and I really liked it. It did drag in parts. It was not the most interesting everywhere. This is definitely not another Daisy Jones. I gave this 4 stars, and I highly recommend reading this, especially if you're interested in dual timelines, you're interested in the idea of different realities. It is a really fun story to read from. On to the romances that I read. We're gonna start with Ruby Dixon, because why wouldn't we start with Ruby Dixon? So I read Barbarian's Prize. This is book number 5 in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I really liked this one. I don't remember who we're following in this one, but I really love the story and the characters and just the adventures that they go on and everything. And I love Ruby Dixon. I think she is such a fun author and such a good writer and a good storyteller. And I know that a lot of people are like, these are just smut, but like I don't even care. Like I love the stories and I love the way that these characters just kind of like take over my heart. So I don't even care. I love the world. I love the concept. I don't even like science fiction and aliens, and yet here I am loving aliens much. So come for me. I don't even care. I gave it 4 stars. 100% gonna be reading the next book in the series. I love this series a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my most disappointing read of the month, and that was Captive Prince by S.C. Pacat. This is a male-male romance about a prince and another prince. One of the princes end up getting traded as a slave, and he becomes a pleasure slave for the prince in the other kingdom. It was fantasy. I was bored through most of it. I can't place why, other than it was boring and I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't like the world building. I didn't like the setting or the writing or the perspectives. I didn't get it. The only thing I enjoyed was the enemies to lovers kind of angst that they had going on, and that was it. So don't recommend this. I've got nothing else to say. So the next thing I read was Prince of Sin by Cass Ford. I actually read half of this in November and just never finished it in November. This was actually recommended in a video by Bree from Bree Hill, at Bree Hill, Falling for Romance on other platforms. I bought this on her recommendation because she said it was really steamy. That is true. It is very steamy. The girl in this book is a vlogger. She went to journalism school and then she falls for a porn star. So the premise was like there, you know, like the premise was like really there. Like we have a journalism student who is now a vlogger. We have a, you know, a porn star, and I just thought that was really cool. I've always been really interested in the porn industry, not because I want to be in the porn industry, just because I'm interested in the way it works and the way that like money flows and careers there, and like how people make a living and why it's free and what's not free. So I was really interested in that. I'm interested in the way that that kind of affects our generation and the media. I've wrote 3 papers on that actually. This book was something that really caught my attention, and I'll go ahead and say I didn't hate it. I really didn't hate it. I flew through the first half of this book and I was like, this is gonna be a 5-star book, like 100%. This is 5 stars. I love this. This is amazing. And then something happened in that gap that I took where the writing when I came back was just not that great, and I didn't love the writing anymore, and the characters kind of did things just out of convenience, and I felt like things were just happening because it was the convenient thing to happen, and I just didn't love it anymore. And I felt like the conflict was lackluster. I gave it 3 stars because though I really loved it in the beginning, the ending just felt really flat for me. And I have no real comment on the journalism side of this because she's a vlogger. She's not a journalist. She's not a reporter, though the main guy does call her a reporter. She's not. If anything, she works for a gossip magazine. So clear that up. I gave it 3 stars. It was fun. It was fine. Just not my favorite thing. So then the last thing I read in the month of January, well, actually not, but this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, is Vow of Obedience by Brianna Hill. This is a mafia romance. This follows a guy who, his brother gets murdered and he wants to go after the guy who killed him. So he takes his daughter and they have a romance, and it is daddy kink if you don't like that. It was very dark. The writing was beautiful as usual. The characters were amazing as usual. I adored them. And I loved the dark, taboo elements that Brianna Hill brings to all of her books. And you know I'm gonna recommend this. I gave this 4 stars. It's just not my favorite Brianna Hill. I still liked it, still enjoyed it. I still recommend it. It's just not my favorite. And those are all of the books that I read in the month of January. I only read 7 titles in the month of January, but overall, it wasn't horrible. We're aiming for better next month. I won't have this little rascal right here causing so much trouble, because next month she'll be a little older and she'll be able to behave a little better. A little better. Yeah, I know, it's my glasses. But if you want to be my friend on any other platform, all my links are in the description. I have Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. And with that being said, I will see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone.